All right, everybody, welcome back. We are doing another deep dive today, and I'm very excited about this one.
Me too. This is going to be a good one.
I think so, because, you know, sometimes you need a little motivation,
You do. You need that boost.
especially in academia.
Yes, definitely in academia.
And so we thought, what better person to turn to for some inspiring words than Marie Curie?
Right. Like the Marie Curie.
Yeah, so we're not going to, like, talk about physics and chemistry,
No.
we're going to talk about her and, like, what she had to say about, like, life and about work and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this is somebody who obviously knew a lot about the academic life.
She did. She really did.
But also like the struggles of, being a researcher and all of that.
Exactly, and, like, the perseverance that it takes.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, I think we can all learn something from her.
Absolutely.
So we've got, like, 4 quotes
More great quotes.
that we're going to kind of dive into, and we think will be really helpful, like, no matter where you are in your academic journey.
Yeah, whether you're just starting out or you've been doing this for a really long time,
Right.
there's something in here for everybody.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first quote, this one's all about fear.
Okay.
And this is something that I think we can all relate to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So she said, "Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more so that we may fear less."
I love that.
Right?
Sure.
So powerful.
Yeah, and I feel like especially in academia,
Yes.
like there's so much fear,
So much fear.
whether it's like imposter syndrome or
Oh, yeah.
like, am I good enough to be here?
Totally.
Or like fear of failure. Like, well, what if my research doesn't work out?
What if I don't get that grant?
What if I don't get the grant right?
Or, what if my dissertation is terrible?
Yeah.
There's all these fears.
There's just like fear all around.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, have you ever felt that kind of fear?
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
I mean, all the time.
I mean, especially when you're starting something new, like a new research project,
Right.
you're going into the unknown and you're like, wait, I don't actually know what I'm doing.
Right.
And that can be really scary.
Yeah.
But I think what Curie is saying here is like, that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to be afraid, but like the way to get past that fear is to understand more.
Right, to learn more. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the whole point of research, right?
Totally.
It's to push the boundaries of knowledge.
Exactly.
And to do that, you have to kind of go into those scary, unknown places.
Right. And, like, the more you learn about it, the less scary it becomes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I love that. Like,
Yeah.
instead of being paralyzed by fear,
Yeah.
use it as, like, motivation to
Total.
learn more.
Like, dive deeper into
Yeah.
whatever it is that's scaring you.
Right.
Do more research, talk to your mentors,
Right.
read more books, like whatever it is that you need to do to kind of get a better grasp on it.
Totally.
Because the more you know, the less scary it will be.
Exactly. Yeah. And, like, I think this applies to, like, anything,
Yeah, absolutely.
whether it's, like, presenting your research at a conference
Right.
or, like you said, like, writing your dissertation or even just, like, navigating the academic world in general.
Yeah, I mean, think about like all the weird unspoken rules of academia.
Oh,
It's like, how do you even know what you're supposed to be doing half the time?
I know, right?
But the more you kind of learn about how things work,
Right.
the more comfortable you'll feel.
Yeah.
And the less afraid you'll be.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to our next quote.
Okay.
Um, this one is something that I think a lot of us struggle with, and it is all about perfection.
Oh, yeah.
So she said, "Have no fear of perfection. You'll never reach it."
Oof, that one hurts.
Right?
Because it's so true.
It's so true.
Especially in academia, I feel like there's this pressure to be perfect.
Yeah, like all the time.
Like your dissertation needs to be perfect. Your publications need to be
You
perfect.
had to, like, get everything right.
You can't make any mistakes.
Right.
And like your teaching has to be flawless.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It is a lot of pressure.
Right.
And I think it's easy to get kind of caught up in that,
Oh, yeah.
like, striving for this, like, unattainable level of perfection.
Yeah. And it can be really paralyzing.
Yeah.
Like you spend hours and hours tweaking a paper
Right.
or like obsessing over every little detail of a presentation.
Right.
And you're afraid to actually like put your work out there.
Yeah, because it's not perfect.
Because it's not perfect. Right.
Right.
And I think what Curie is saying is like, that's not the point.
Yeah.
Like perfection is an illusion. It doesn't exist.
It really is.
And like chasing after it can actually be really harmful
Totally.
because it prevents you from actually making progress.
Right.
Like you're so worried about getting everything perfect that you never actually finish anything.
Right.
Or you're so afraid of making a mistake that you never actually try anything new.
Yeah. And I think it's important to remember, like, it's okay to make mistakes.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, that's how we learn.
Yeah, mistakes are how we learn.
Yep.
And like nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect.
Not even Marie Curie.
Right.
So like give yourself permission to mess up
Right.
and to learn from those mistakes.
Totally. And like, I think it's about shifting your focus from like perfection
Yeah.
to progress.
Like it's about the journey,
Right. Yeah.
not the destination.
Yeah.
And like it's about learning and growing and experimenting and like putting your work out there even if it's not perfect.
Right.
Because like that's how you get feedback.
Yeah.
That's how you improve.
Totally.
And like that's how you actually make a contribution to your field.
Exactly. So I love that.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about lowering your standards.
Right.
It's about, like you said, shifting your focus
Yeah.
to progress and to learning and to like, you know, just putting your work out there.
And being okay with like the messy process because like that's where the real learning happens.
Exactly. So think about like, you know, what you're working on right now.
Yeah.
Like, are you letting that fear of imperfection hold you back?
Right.
Like, maybe Curie's words can give you that little push
Yeah.
to like take that next step, even if it's not perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so let's move on to our next quote.
Okay.
This one is a reminder that like academic success doesn't happen overnight,
No, it does not.
which I think is something that we all need to hear sometimes.
We really do.
So she said, I was taught that the way of progress was neither swift nor easy.
Oof, that is so true.
Right.
I mean, it's like we live in this world of instant gratification.
Right, like everything's so fast.
Yeah, like you can get anything you want with like a click of a button.
Right.
But academia is not like that.
It is not like that at all.
No, it's like the long game.
Right, it's years of study and research and
setbacks.
setbacks and like, you know,
And rejections.
and rejections.
And just like slogging through it.
Slogging through it. Yeah.
It's not easy.
It's not easy, and it's definitely not fast.
No.
So how do we like stay motivated
Right.
when like the finish line seems so far away?
Yeah, that's a good
Like,
bit.
how do we not give up?
Right.
And I think like one thing that helps me is to like remember that everybody goes through this.
Yeah.
Like even Marie Curie,
Even Marie Curie.
like she was brilliant,
Yeah.
but like she didn't just like snap her fingers and discover radium.
No.
Like it took her years
Years of work.
of work
In like a leaky shed.
in a leaky shed.
Like with terrible equipment.
Yeah, like it wasn't glamorous.
No, it's not glamorous at all.
And like, I think her quote reminds us that like true progress takes time.
Yeah. It takes time. It takes dedication.
For dedication.
It takes resilience.
Resilience, yeah.
Like it's not going to be easy,
Right.
but it's worth it.
It is worth it, yeah.
If it's something that you're passionate about,
Right.
like it's worth putting in the time and the effort. And it's also important to like celebrate those small victories along the way
Yes.
because like I said, it's a long game.
Right.
So you got to find those little things to keep you going.
Right, like, you know, finishing a chapter.
Yeah.
Or presenting at a conference.
Or getting feedback on a paper.
Right.
Even if it's like really harsh feedback,
Yeah.
it's still progress
It's still progress, right?
because it means that you're putting your work out there.
Exactly. And like you're getting closer
You're getting
to like,
closer.
you know, achieving your goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. And every challenge that you overcome makes you a stronger researcher
Totally.
and like a more resilient person.
Absolutely.
So, okay, we have one more quote.
All right, bring it on.
This one's a little bit different,
Okay.
but equally insightful.
I'm intrigued.
So she said, be less curious about people and more curious about ideas.
Oh, that is good.
Right.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah. I feel like this is so relevant to academia
It really is.
because, like, let's be honest,
Yeah.
there could be a lot of gossip and drama,
Oh my gosh. So much.
right? Like in departments.
Yes.
And like, you know, it's easy to get caught up in that.
It really is.
Like who's doing what and who's sleeping with who and like,
Right. And like who's getting the grants and who's not.
right. And like who's publishing where and like,
And like who's on which committee.
yes,
A lot.
it can be very distracting.
Yeah.
But I think what Curie is saying is like,
Yeah.
don't waste your time on that.
Right.
Like focus your energy on the ideas,
Yeah. On the research.
on the research.
On the questions that actually matter.
Right. Like what are you passionate about?
Yeah.
What are you curious about?
Like what are the big questions in your field
Right.
that you want to answer?
Yeah.
Like those are the things that should be driving you.
Exactly.
Not the petty drama of
Yeah.
like who's doing what.
Totally.
And like I think that's really good advice for like life in general.
Yeah.
Just academic. Like it's so easy to get caught up in the lives of other people.
Right.
And like comparing yourself to others and like,
all the social media stuff.
yeah, all the social media stuff.
And like, just like all of that noise.
Right.
But like, if you can focus your energy on like what you're actually curious about
Yeah.
and like what you're passionate about,
Yeah.
that's where the real magic happens.
I love that.
Yeah. And I think like that's something that Marie Curie really embodied.
She really did.
Like she was so focused on her work
Yeah.
and on like pushing the boundaries of knowledge.
Yeah. She didn't let anything distract her
Right.
from like her pursuit of science.
Exactly.
And like, I think that's something that we can all aspire to.
Totally. Okay. So what have we learned today from Marie Curie?
Well, a lot. I mean, I think her words remind us that like the academic journey, it's not just about like intellectual achievement.
Right.
It's also about like personal growth
Yes.
and resilience and like confronting your fears.
Yes.
And embracing your imperfections.
Right.
And celebrating those small victories along the way.
Yes. And like most importantly, staying curious
Yes.
about the world around us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And like as you continue on your journey, remember that like there are resources out there
Yes, there are.
to help you.
Yeah, like websites like academicjobs.com
Right.
can connect you with like amazing opportunities and a really supportive community in your field.
Yeah, great reminder.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the wisdom of Marie Curie.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Until next time.
See ya.
Bye-bye, Bunny.